Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel BBC Rare Coins. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history and design of one of America's most iconic coins, the Washington quarter dollar. Let's start. Top 1. One coin point one mistake, and one incredible story worth up to $77,000. This is the legend of the 1965 Washington quarter dollar, a coin so rare, so mysterious, and so valuable. It's become one of the most hunted treasures in American history. But what makes a simple 25-cent coin worth more than most people's yearly salaries? To understand this, we have to go back in time to a turning point in American currency. In the early 1960s, the United States faced a crisis. The price of silver was rising fast, and that meant a major problem for the U.S. Mint. For decades, American coins like dimes, quarters, and half dollars were made from 90% silver. But by 1964, the metal in the coins was worth more than their face value. People were hoarding silver coins, melting them down, and making a profit. The government needed a solution. Fast, in 1965, a major change happened. The U.S. Mint stopped making silver quarters and replaced them with a cheaper metal, copper nickel clad. From that year on, all quarters were supposed to be made with this new composition. It was official. No more silver. Silver quarters were gone, or so we thought. During the transition, a few silver planchets, the blank metal discs used to make coins, were accidentally left behind in the minting machines. These silver blanks were supposed to be removed, but a small number made it into the presses and were struck with the 1965 quarter design. That mistake created one of the rarest errors in U.S. coinage history. The 1965 silver Washington quarter that wasn't supposed to exist. Yet it does. And today, this mistake could make you rich. One of these rare silver 1965 quarters sold for over $7,000. Another, in near-perfect condition, was auctioned for a staggering $77,000. That's $77,000 for a coin that looks just like the one in your pocket. So how do you know if you've got one? There are 3 ways to tell. First, check the weight. A regular 1965 clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. A silver one is heavier, about 6.25 grams. All you need is a precise digital scale. Second, look at the edge. Regular quarters have a copper-colored stripe around the rim. A silver quarter has a solid silver edge, clean and uniform. Third, listen to the sound. Drop it gently on a hard surface. Silver coins have a high-pitched, bell-like ring. Clad coins sound dull and flat. It's a small difference, but coin collectors know that sound well. If you think you've found one, don't spend it. Get it checked. Because even in average condition, these rare coins are worth thousands. And here's the best part. They're still out there. Most people don't know what to look for. These quarters can be hiding in old change jars, inherited collections, forgotten drawers, or even in your pocket right now. It's a treasure hunt, and the treasure is real money. The 1965 silver quarter is more than just a coin. It's a piece of American history, born from a time of change, caught between 2 eras. It represents a moment when the U.S. Mint was shifting gears, and in that moment of transition, something slipped through the cracks, something rare, valuable, and now legendary. It's proof that even in a system designed for perfection, mistakes happen. And sometimes, those mistakes are worth a fortune. The next time you get change back from a store, the next time you sort through an old box of coins, take a second look, because that 25-cent piece might just be the most valuable coin you'll ever hold. A 1965 silver Washington quarter, worth up to $77,000, and it could be in your hands right now. Top 2. In the world of American coins, there are some quarters that rise far above their face value. Not because of gold, not because of age, but because of a mistake. A tiny error, unnoticed by most, can turn a common coin into a rare treasure. One such coin is the 1972 Washington quarter dollar, a coin so rare and unusual that it has been valued at over $74,000. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter. It has the familiar face of George Washington, the date 1972 stamped underneath, and the standard eagle reverse design. Millions of these quarters were made. They were common, circulating in pockets and purses across the country. But among the millions, there is a rare variation. a mistake that turned an ordinary coin into an object of obsession for collectors. In 1972, quarters were supposed to be made using a copper-nickel clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between layers of nickel. This had been the standard since 1965, when silver was removed from circulating coins due to rising metal costs. But every so often, something went wrong at the U.S. Mint. Some planchets, the blank discs used to strike coins, were struck using materials or dyes that weren't meant for the quarter at all. One of the rarest and most valuable types of 1972 quarters are error coins known as off-metal strikes or wrong planchet errors. That means the quarter was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another coin, such as a penny or a foreign denomination. These are incredibly rare. Even more mysterious are examples of the 1972 quarter showing double die obverse errors, where the image on the front of the coin appears doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. The result is a coin where Washington's profile, the date, or the word liberty may appear with noticeable doubling, an error that instantly multiplies its value. But among all the known errors, one specific 1972 Washington quarter stands out. A coin with such a severe and unusual striking flaw, coupled with pristine condition, that it was once auctioned for $74,000. That's right, $74,000 for a single quarter. This particular coin combined rarity, demand, and near-perfect preservation, likely a mint-state error coin that survived decades untouched. For collectors, this is the ultimate find, a flawless mistake, preserved in time. Imagine walking home with a pocket full of change after buying a coffee, and one of those coins, one of those average-looking quarters, is worth more than a luxury car. That's the kind of story that has turned the 1972 Washington quarter into a modern legend among coin enthusiasts. So how can you tell if you've got a rare one? Start by looking closely. Examine the date. Look for doubling, especially around the words "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 1972. If you notice anything unusual, don't dismiss it. Flip the coin and look at the eagle. Look at the edges. Compare the weight. If it feels light or heavy, that could be a clue. Some of the rarest quarters have no mint mark because they were minted in Philadelphia. Others were minted in Denver or San Francisco. But the mint mark alone doesn't determine value. It's the combination of condition, errors, and anomalies that matter most. Even more astonishing is the idea that these coins are still out there. Not in museums, not locked away in vaults, but in circulation, hidden in plain sight. In your change jar, in your glove box, in that forgotten roll of coins sitting in your drawer. The U.S. Mint has struck billions of coins over the years. Mistakes are inevitable, but when a mistake like the 1972 quarter happens, and that coin escapes into the wild, it becomes something extraordinary. A modern treasure, a symbol of how something so small can carry so much history, value, and mystery. The 1972 Washington quarter is more than just currency. It's a piece of American craftsmanship, a glimpse into the machinery and human hands that built the economy. And in rare cases, it's a hidden fortune. So the next time you get change back from a vending machine, or clean out that old coffee can filled with coins, take a closer look. Because you never know when one simple, forgotten quarter might be the key to a $74,000 discovery. And it could be waiting for you. Right now. Top 3. ChatGPT said, in the world of coin collecting, most quarters are just that, 25 cents. Tossed in jars, slipped into vending machines, forgotten in couch cushions. But every once in a while, one coin defies all odds. One coin breaks all the rules. One coin turns pocket change into a small fortune. And in this case, that coin is the 1980 Washington quarter dollar. A quarter so rare and unusual, it has been valued at an astonishing $69,000. At first glance, it looks ordinary. George Washington's face. The year 1980 stamped clearly beneath his neckline. The word liberty across the top. Just like millions of other quarters made that year. But hidden among the masses, a tiny number of these 1980 quarters are anything but ordinary. In 1980, the United States Mint was producing billions of coins. The presses were running nonstop, feeding the demands of a growing economy. But high speed leads to high stakes. And under that pressure, mistakes can happen. Small mistakes. Invisible to most. But to coin collectors, they are gold. The most valuable and expensive 1980 quarter ever recorded wasn't made from silver or gold. It didn't have diamonds or fancy packaging. What it had was an error, a rare, unexpected flaw during the minting process. And that error turned an ordinary quarter into a once-in-a-lifetime fine point. One of the most sought-after varieties from 1980 is known as a wrong planchet error, a coin that was struck on a metal blank mint for another denomination. Imagine a quarter struck on a nickels blank, or even a foreign coin planchet. These errors are incredibly rare and can escape into circulation without anyone noticing. Then there's the off-center strike, where the coin design is not perfectly centered. If part of the design is missing or shifted, especially if the date is still visible, the value skyrockets. Even more elusive is the double die error, where parts of the coin appear doubled due to a misalignment in the minting die. If Washington's profile, the word Liberty, or the date, 1980, shows signs of doubling, that's a red flag, and possibly a gold mine. But the king of them all? A coin that combined both rarity and near-flawless condition. A 1980 Washington quarter with a unique mint error, preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition, graded at the highest levels. This exact quarter sold for an incredible $69,000 at auction. A 25-cent piece transformed into a five-figure treasure. And here's the most exciting part. These coins aren't locked away in museums or guarded behind glass. They're out there, in the wild, in forgotten change jars, in rolls from the bank, in inherited collections and flea markets, waiting to be found. So how can you tell if you're holding one of these rare 1980 quarters? Start with the details. First, examine the edges. Is there anything unusual? Is the reeded edge missing or incomplete? That could be a sign of an off-metal strike. Second, look at the mint mark. In 1980, quarters were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. A rare misplacement or absence of the mint mark might point to a collectible variation. Next, check for doubling. Look closely at the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or Liberty. If you see a shadow or a ghosted second image, that could be a double die error. And finally, weigh the coin. A regular quarter from 1980 should weigh about 5.67 grams. If your coin is significantly lighter or heavier, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet. When you find something unusual, get it checked. Take it to a coin dealer. Send it for grading. Because the difference between a 25-cent coin and a $69,000 windfall could come down to a single overlooked detail. The 1980 Washington quarter reminds us that even in a world of mass production, rare beauty can still slip through. Mistakes can become masterpieces, and ordinary objects can carry extraordinary stories. This isn't just a coin. It's history. It's a mystery. It's a reminder that treasures don't always glitter. Sometimes, they jingle in your pocket. So next time you get change at the store, don't ignore that quarter. Don't toss it aside. Look closer, because one day, you might just hold the most valuable and expensive 1980 quarter ever made. A coin worth $69,000, and it could be sitting in your hand right now. Top 4. Among the countless coins that have passed through American hands, some stand apart not because of precious metals, but because of rare errors and unique stories. One of the most fascinating and valuable examples is the 1990 Washington quarter dollar, a quarter that, under the right conditions, has been valued at an incredible $63,000. At first glance, the 1990 quarter looks like any other. The proud profile of George Washington on the obverse, the date, 1990, stamped clearly beneath, and the familiar eagle on the reverse. It's a coin minted in the modern era, designed to be everyday currency, easy to overlook in a handful of change, but hidden in the vast sea of ordinary 1990 quarters, there exists a rare few with a story worth tens of thousands of dollars. The product of minting errors so uncommon and fascinating that collectors around the world search tirelessly for them. During the 1990 minting process, the U.S. Mint was producing millions of quarters to keep up with demand. With high-speed presses churning out coins by the second, there was always a small chance for mistakes. And when those mistakes happen, they create something special. One of the most valuable error types from 1990 is the double die error. This occurs when the coin's design is stamped twice by the minting dies, but slightly misaligned during the second strike. The result? Letters, numbers, or images appear doubled or shadowed. a telltale sign that immediately raises a coin's value. On the 1990 Washington quarter, this doubling might be most visible on Liberty, the date 1990, or the phrase, "In God We Trust." Another rare and highly prized error is the off-center strike. This happens when a planchet isn't properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted to one side. When the date and major features remain visible, such coins become incredibly collectible and valuable. Then there's the wrong planchet error, a phenomenon where a quarter is struck on a blank intended for another coin, like a penny or dime planchet. These off-metal strikes are almost like nature's coin lottery, with only a handful known to exist. Among these, one particular 1990 Washington quarter stands out. This coin, preserved in mint condition and bearing a rare combination of striking errors, was once sold for a staggering $63,000. This isn't just about metal or age, it's about rarity, condition, and the allure of a perfect mistake. What makes these quarters even more fascinating is their accessibility. Unlike ancient coins locked away in vaults, these 1990-era quarters might be sitting unnoticed in your change jar, your glove box, or your family's old coin collection. They remind us that treasures aren't always hidden deep in the earth. Sometimes, they jingle quietly in your pocket. So how can you spot one? Start by examining the date and lettering under bright light or with a magnifier. Look for any signs of doubling, shadows, extra lines, or blurred edges. Check the alignment of the design. If the coin looks off-center, especially if part of the image or date is missing, you could have an off-center strike. Weigh your coin and inspect its edges carefully. A wrong planchet coin may feel lighter or heavier than usual, or have an edge different from the standard reeded rim. If you suspect you've found a rare 1990 Washington quarter error, don't ignore it. Get it professionally graded and authenticated. Because while most quarters are worth 25 cents, the right one could be your ticket to a $63,000 discovery. The 1990 Washington quarter is more than just pocket change. It's a reminder that in the world of coins, perfection isn't always the goal. Sometimes, a mistake can make history. Sometimes, a simple quarter can turn into a priceless treasure. Next time you sort through your coins, take a moment. Look closely. That 25-cent piece could be the most valuable coin you ever hold. A 1990 Washington quarter worth $63,000, and it might already be in your hand. Top 5. In the vast and fascinating world of American coins, few stories capture the imagination quite like that of the 1992 Washington quarter dollar. A seemingly ordinary coin that has become one of the most valuable and rare quarters in history, commanding prices up to $58,000 at first glance. The 1992 quarter looks just like any other. It carries the timeless image of George Washington on the front, the year 1992 clearly stamped, and the classic eagle soaring on the reverse. Millions of these quarters were minted, meant to circulate as everyday currency, slipping quietly from pocket to pocket without drawing a second glance. But hidden among those countless coins, a rare few hold a secret. A minting error so unusual and prized that collectors around the world are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars for the chance to own one. That the magic lies in the errors and anomalies created during the minting process. In 1992, as the U.S. Mint churned out billions of coins, the speed and scale of production meant the occasional mistake was inevitable. These mistakes, while tiny and often overlooked, can create coins of incredible rarity. One of the most famous errors found on the 1992 Washington quarter is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to stamp the coin's design strikes the planchet twice in slightly different positions, resulting in doubled or shadowed images and lettering. On the 1992 quarter, collectors looked closely at the date, the word Liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust" for signs of this doubling. When detected, this subtle anomaly can instantly skyrocket the coin's value. Another rare and highly prized mistake is the off-center strike. In these cases, the coin is not properly centered during striking, causing part of the design to be missing or shifted. If the date and major features remain intact and visible, these off-center quarters become highly sought after by collectors. There are also instances of wrong planchet strikes, where a 1992 quarter was accidentally minted on a blank mint for another coin, such as a penny or dime. These coins are exceptionally rare, making their discovery a once-in-a-lifetime find. Among these rare varieties, one particular 1992 Washington quarter stands out, a coin preserved in pristine condition with a combination of minting errors so unusual that it sold for a jaw-dropping $58,000 at auction. This quarter represents the perfect storm of rarity, demand, and condition that collectors dream of. What makes the story even more thrilling is that these coins are not confined to museums or private vaults. They could be sitting right under your nose, in your coin jar, your drawer, or even forgotten in an old collection passed down through generations. The 1992 Washington quarter serves as a reminder that sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight. So how can you identify one of these rare quarters? First, examine the coin under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look carefully for any signs of doubling on the date, the word liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." Notice if the lettering seems thicker or has shadowed edges. Next, check the alignment of the design. If the coin appears off-center, especially if part of the image or date is missing, it could be an off-center strike, a rare and valuable error. Also, feel the weight and inspect the edges. If the coin feels heavier or lighter than usual, or if the edge looks unusual, it might be a wrong planchet strike. If you think you have found a rare 1992 Washington quarter, it's important to get it professionally examined and graded. Authenticating its rarity and condition can turn an ordinary coin into a life-changing discovery. The 1992 Washington quarter is more than just pocket change. It's a piece of history, a silent witness to the workings of the U.S. Mint, and a testament to the unexpected value hidden in everyday objects. It shows us that perfection isn't always the goal. Sometimes, it's the imperfections that create something truly extraordinary. Next time you sort through your coins, take a moment to look closely. That 25-cent piece might just be the most valuable coin you'll ever hold. A 1992 Washington quarter worth $58,000, and it might already be in your hands.